Hey there survivors, how's it going? I'm your host Douglas here at Drumboy Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface Collector's video. And I'm happy to announce that in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a few new different Screaming Ghostface mask variants that came out in 2024. There were quite a few different variants that came out this year that I never came across in person, and there are even a few that I did come across but didn't pick up immediately. I kind of ended up regretting that for a few different styles, but today's video we're going to be featuring a few different ones that I never saw in stores. All of the masks in today's video were picked up from Halloween Asylum. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. This is just me giving a shout out to Halloween Asylum, which is another mask retailer that you can pick up Scream Ghostface products as well as many different other mask variants, costume pieces, whatever it is that you're looking for the Halloween season. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of different great retailers out there for different Halloween masks and products, and there are several different other retailers that do carry these. However, Halloween Asylum has had some of the best different discounted deals that I've seen on masks out of any of these different retailers. I was even able to pick up a cryptic gauze Ghostface mask, one of the newer variants of course, directly from them for only $4. And the mask that came in was practically perfect. Beyond that, they do offer Ghostface masks that they receive that are considered scratch and dent for a discounted price. So if you're someone who just wants masks to customize them, or you just want to wear this, you don't really care about having a perfect, nice, brand new tagged piece, definitely consider looking there to have those options. But of course, they do still have options for nice, brand new quality masks for collectors and costumers alike. And today, we're going to be taking a look at some very, very cool new masks. So let's go ahead and dive right in. You can already tell by the title and thumbnail what we're taking a look at today, but this is really my first time giving these a good up-close look. So let's go ahead and take a look at the new EU stamped fluorescent Ghostface masks. Now, of course, I have the green here in my hand, but I didn't just pick up the green, I did get the pink. And of course, the orange as well. You gotta have the full set. I mean, I guess if you just like one color over the other, you could just pick out a green or orange or pink, but personally, I think all three together looks fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a look at each one individually, and then I'll give you guys my assessment of these as a whole. So, as for the new EU stamp, these are present on the big EU stamp Ghostface mask. If you flip it around and look at the back of the chin, you can tell by the styling there on the chin that this is different than the standard quality EU. Now, for some people they would consider this to be a bad thing, to some people it's a great thing, to myself I think that this is pretty awesome. We already did have the classic EU stamp released in orange and green with the regular, larger eye and nose paint, what's more considered to be the standard style paint job, as well as a run of fluorescents that did have the smaller eye and nose paint. Yet again, only in orange and green. They never originally released a pink mask. So even if you already had a complete set of the originals, these are entirely different. Not just because they are a different mold mask, but also just entirely in the way that they are constructed. The previous masks had dyed vinyl. That means all the way through the mask, it was one solid color. It was the actual material itself that was colored green, orange, and I guess occasionally pink for some of the earlier masks, but we're talking about the EU stamps right now. However, if you take a look at these, and take a look on the inside, you will notice that these are in fact just white masks that have been painted green. Now, this isn't a horrible thing. Personally, I'm happy just to see the fluorescence brought back at all. However, with these being painted like that, it can lead to some of the paint jobs looking a little bit inconsistent. They're pretty well painted, but on a couple of these, there are a few areas that didn't get quite as much paint on them as others, so they're a little bit transparent and you can kind of see that white through the mask. And also, particularly on the back of this one, there are some times where paint drips will form, or there's just too much paint in an area and it looks much darker than the surrounding paint job. Now thankfully, as far as the face of this mask, there's nothing noticeable like that really, but on the chin, this one is pretty heavily affected. As for the actual color that they chose for the green, this is a gorgeous, nice stab green. I'm really happy with the color on this one, and let's go ahead and move along and talk about, you guys know it's one of my favorites, the pink mask. Okay, look guys, you already know that I'm a big sucker for a pink Ghostface mask, but at the same time, This is a tremendous thing. Like I said, originally when they produced the fluorescent EU stamped masks, they only did orange and green, meaning that up until now, we never have had an official pink EU stamped Ghostface mask. So this is the first of its kind, and oh, it is oh so beautiful. I absolutely love this thing. Honestly, after getting this in person, I wish I would have ordered at least a second one to have to wear, because these are so gorgeous. As a massive fan of the pink masks, and of course as a fan of the fluorescents and someone who has collected these for so many years, being able to see an official pink EU Ghostface is a dream come true. As far as the shade of pink that they chose as well, this is absolutely gorgeous. It really has that same pink hue that I remember seeing whenever I was searching for a Gen 1 pink Ghostface mask all of those years ago. Said after seeing this in person, I'm definitely going to have to get another one of these. These are fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a look at the orange mask. And last but certainly not least, here we have the orange EU stamp fluorescent Ghostface mask from 2024. This thing is pretty nice looking, but it's definitely my least favorite of the three. To be fair, whenever it comes to any of the vintage fluorescent Ghostface masks, I think the orange has always been my least favorite, but with this one, out of the trio, I think it's definitely my least favorite. The color that they chose here is pretty close to a pumpkin orange, but it looks like maybe just a little bit more yellow orangish than a regular pumpkin orange. So I'm not super thrilled with the color, but by no means is it bad. That's just me being nitpicky, but at the same time, like I said, orange has always been my least favorite between the three options. Alright, now that we've talked about all three colors, let's go ahead and make an overall assessment. As far as the tags here, we have the Ghostface fluorescent tag, looking kinda bland as it did previously when we got the ultra white painted fluorescents, but at the same time, at this point, I'm not really expecting too much out of the tags. It definitely serves its purpose, but of course I would love to see them with a nice little image there, maybe of like all three Ghostface masks side by side, so you see all three different color variants, and put that on all three different masks so you don't have to make a unique tag for each color. I think that would be really cool, but yet again, I'm a huge sucker for the mask image being on the tag itself. Now, another upgrade that these have seen is, of course, the plastic insert. At this point, this pretty much has become the standard for most EU stamped and even the aged and some other different styles that Ghostface, I meant to say Fun World. Anyways, I'm really happy to see that this is now the standard for these masks, because the difference that it makes in how these masks arrive to the stores and how they look when they make it to the customers is massive. Seeing just how some of the previous ultra whites and even some of the previous EUs and 25th anniversary masks looked on store shelves, or even just, you know, hanging on hang tags, it was pretty bad. A lot of them were squished flat. You had a lot of really undesirable shapes to most people. Yet again, I love a warped mask, but to the general customer, not so much. So seeing the plastic insert on these is a fantastic thing. Next, let's talk about the quality of the paint and the vinyl on the masks. I've already talked about the paint color choices, but let's talk about the paint quality. For the most part, the application seems to be pretty well done on these. Honestly, it does seem to be a lot better than the previous ultra white versions that we received. But like those, due to them being painted instead of dyed, you could run into some paint inconsistencies. So some of these might end up having air bubbles that end up causing it to look like it's missing paint or had a paint chip. You could end up with fingerprints, paint drippage, kind of like what we saw on the chin of the green mask we already took a look at. There's many different problems that you could have as far as that. But let's talk about the mouth, nose, and eye paint. The mouth and nose, for the most part, seem to be painted pretty similar to the other Big Stamp EU masks, meaning that the mouth is painted to look a little bit thinner, they don't really go up on the edges of the mouth too much, and the nose seems to be painted smaller, like the old Scream 3 small eye and nose paint EU mask. However, unlike that one, the eye paint on these does seem to be nice and thick like a standard style EU is. And it does look beautiful, don't get me wrong. However, I have seen some people that were making custom painted EUs and dyed EUs, and instead of painting the black outline around the eyes, they left it unpainted, and it gave it a very similar quality to the original Gen 1 masks that were missing the eyeliner on the fluorescents. So, to the general public, I'm sure they would rather see it painted. However, as far as them just coming right out of the store, they're pretty fantastic looking masks. The pink mask here, absolutely gorgeous. There's no imperfections at all on this. This is probably the best. I did find like a fingerprint or two on the orange one, but on the green one, not only did we have paint drippage, but it looks like there's some actual damage to the mold itself. I'm not sure if it's something that's happened to this cast in particular, the one that I have here, or if this is something that we're going to be seeing more consistently with some other masks out of this mold, but it has like some dots here, here, and here across the forehead, and it looks like mold imperfections. So if any of you out there have either the fluorescence or the regular versions of the new big EU stamp, and you've noticed any weird dots on your casting, let me know in the comment section down below. And I think that pretty much does it for the fluorescent masks. I'm excited to see these back. I'm excited to finally see EU fluorescence back. And of course, the final edition of an EU pink is fantastic. Now, I do have one more mask to take a look at, and I was indecisive on whether to throw this in another video or right here, but this seems like the perfect place for it. So let's go ahead and take a look at one other very unique Ghostface mask variant. Alright survivors, last but not least, here we have what I think is likely the most anticipated Ghostface mask variant of 2024, and there have been quite a few to release this year. And as I mentioned, there are many different variants that I have not received and have not covered here on the channel, but I think this has by far been the most anticipated by Screamin' Ghostface fans. Here we have the Santa Ghostface mask. Santa Face, Father Christmas, Father Death, whatever you want to call him, here it is. This is one of the oddest variants, but at the same time, I absolutely love it. Oh, I'm sure you never would have guessed the guy who has tons of Screamin' Ghostface stuff, who collects all these different odds and end variants, likes the Santa Ghostface. This is one that has been pretty controversial amongst collectors. I have seen tons and tons of people super hyped up for this, and I've also seen a lot of people hating on it. I don't really understand the hate for it because Fun World has made many, many different variants of Ghostface over the years, and there are many, many different ideas that made it to the drawing board, but never any further. So this one is honestly not too far-fetched. After all, we've already seen several other different slasher icons carve their way through Christmas, including Art the Clown this year. So now we have Ghostface joining his ranks, dressed in red and ready for the bloodshed. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the product itself. It comes in a nice collector's box here, but I don't think the reason why it's in a box is because it's something cool for collectors to put on a shelf. I think this is more so due to the fact that this is probably the best way to package this to make sure that they do not get destroyed either in transit or especially hanging on shelves. You know, most of us Screamin' Ghostface collectors, we look at these masks and we view them as something special. But don't forget, to the common man, these are just $5 silly little Halloween masks. They mean nothing more to them. And especially to young children, they would have no problem ripping the hat off, tearing the beard off, or ripping a bunch of the hair out. So I think this was definitely the best way to package it. And would you look at that? We have a Ghostface product that actually has a mask image on it. Look at how cool that is. Guys, above all else, this is a win. Fun World, if you're watching, if any representatives are out there watching this, please, more of this. We want to see the mask image, those catalog images that you throw up to help advertise the product, just slap that on the tag. Throw a little red aura around it, or for this one, a little green aura. I think that would look pretty cool. Of course, these are already out, so a little too late. But at the same time, I really have to commend you for this. I'm super, super happy to see this. And looking over the rest of the packaging, pretty minimal on the sides. And up here, it actually has some advertising for a full Santa Ghostface costume. Notably though, they don't really call this a holiday costume. It says it's a Ghostface Santa pub crawl costume. So I guess you're expected to be drinking in this. I don't know. And interesting enough, up here it says Killer for All Seasons. Now many of you may know that on most Ghostface products it says the icon of Halloween. But now, at least on this one, it says the Killer for All Seasons. This does kind of make you wonder, where's Fun World going to take things from here? I mean, we've already got Ghostface in Halloween, of course, kind of in 4th of July if you count the patriotic mask. Now we've got Ghostface in Christmas with the Santa Ghostface. Are they going to do an Easter Bunny variant? I mean, they are Easter Unlimited after all. It would kind of make sense. To be fair, the box does say Killer for All Seasons, so I could definitely see Fun World making some other holiday variants. I could see a St. Patrick's Day green and gold Ghostface, maybe a Day of the Dead candy skull Ghostface. There's obviously so many different possibilities. I think an Easter Bunny Ghostface would look kind of goofy. I don't know if they would give it like an Easter egg coloration, or if they would give it buck teeth like a rabbit and try to make it look like a rabbit. I guess only time will tell. But for now, we do have the addition of the Santa Ghostface. And you know what? I don't think I'm going to be opening this thing. Actually, yes I am. What am I saying? This is not taped shut. Yeah, I was wrong. It is actually attached to a cardboard backer inside of the packaging, so it's not just a mask loosely shoved in the box. There's a bit more to it than that. And with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and just leave it original. You guys know I do love showing these off, but at the same time, I am a collector, and having these things original in the box or originally tagged is a little bit more important to me. And yet again, for any of you Screaming Ghostface collectors who are interested in obtaining these masks, you can get them from Halloween Asylum, or you can even find these in Spirit of Christmas. So if any of you have a Spirit of Christmas location near you, I do believe you can find at least the Santa Ghostface. Probably the full costume too, but I know for a fact they're selling the masks. And with that being said, I think that should pretty much cover it for today's video. We had a few new Ghostface mask variants that I was super excited to add to the collection, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed my review. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below which of these masks is your favorite. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I love you all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time with more Screaming Ghostface content.